It is so ridiculously hot here. So I just went to the gym. I have the AC on full blast and it's not cooling down. Nothing cools down here when it's hot. It's gonna be like this until October. Oh my god, and then we'll have like 2 months of like freezing cold weather, which is nice. Anyway, I just got done with the gym. I did 1 hour on the stair climber. I wasn't going to. I've had a weird day. I got in at 5:30 in the morning, which feels like this is the longest day in the world. Slept the whole time on the plane, but that was only 2.5 hours. So that was 2.5 hours of sleep. Then I slept another 3 hours in the cell phone parking lot in my car with the AC on. And I think I just never got refreshed because it's just so freaking hot. And then I went and got groceries and everything, and then I just slept over here in the Kroger parking lot for 2 more hours. And then across the street is EOS Fitness, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go work out. So now I have to go back to Kroger, get a few more things, which I forgot because I was like tired and delirious this morning. And then I'm gonna go work at Starbucks on the computer where it's nice and cold. So that's the nice thing, is I hate air conditioning, but when it's like this and it's so humid, I need dry cold. I need air conditioning. And it's the only time I ever like air conditioning. I'm British, we open windows. You can't open a window here. You open a window, you get obliterated by mosquitoes, or you just die from the humidity. Like, it just doesn't cool down. But this weekend it's just gonna be a chill weekend, working and stuff on the computer and just kind of getting some admin stuff done. I'm done with a billion videos, but I've got to start deleting the B-roll footage off my phone, the stuff I don't need. I keep the stuff like where I'm on camera just for like self-preservation, not like, you know, because I'm vain or anything. But I just, you know, I get rid of all the B-roll that I don't really need. I don't need 1,000 pieces of footage of the airport, you know, stuff like that. So anyway, so I'm gonna do that as well, and then just maybe download the videos from my phone and just organize them on the computer. So I've got like 30 videos, 15 of them in the queue on YouTube. Crazy. I'm like, I never had this much content. And then I've got another like 10 or 15 that are done but not exported and downloaded and then uploaded. So because I need to save memory on the computer, so I can't I can't export all the videos from Premiere Pro. I use Adobe Creative Suite. So if I export it from Premiere Pro, then they're like 10 gigabyte movies. So even compressed for H.264, which is the format you need for YouTube, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, doesn't matter. So as the videos are published on my YouTube, then I put the original copy on my external hard drive for, you know, keep it like externally. And then I delete all of the clips and the final video on my computer. But I have a copy of that final video on my external hard drive. So that's kind of the format. And then once one video goes up, I can then export the next video and then keep that in the queue on my computer. And then when I'm in Wi-Fi, I can upload it. So that's kind of the format. I used to be in a lot of asset management as a digital project manager. So this is the easy part. I'm good at downloading and renaming and numbering, you know, video and stuff. And it only takes me 3 times as long as the video to make the video. So if it's a 20-minute video, it'll take me 1 hour. But that's not including like the prep time of having to like download the videos and then go through and then delete the delete the ones I don't want. Sorry, excuse me. Delete the ones I don't want, and then renumber the ones that I do want. So, okay, let me go in. Sorry, I'm coughing. Hang on. All right, let me go back into Kroger, and I'll just see you guys later. Anyway, so yeah, so tired. Cannot wait to go to bed. It's just so hot. I just can't sleep right now. I could go to the apartment and just sleep, but it's just, even like the floor is warm. Like it's just, everything's just hot right now. I hate this. I'm not looking forward to menopause. I think this is what menopause is like. It's like, anyway, but yeah, I'll be back in Vegas on Monday afternoon, so it'll be nice. It'll be really nice to get back, and then heading to St. George. So yeah, anyway, okay, let me go sort my stuff out. Good morning. It's overcast, which is good. It's so weird. Like 34 years in this country, I have American parents, and there's still a bunch of words that I just cannot pronounce like the American way. Like, that never changed. Like, some things changed. Like, I say the letter R. I used to not say that. I say the TH. I used to say, like, I think. You know, now it's I think. And then there's just words that I just can't say. Like, castle, or I can't do something, or I don't know, a bunch of other words that will just never be Americanized. I can't. My voice just doesn't change in that regard. But then half of the accent did change. So I don't know how that works. I don't know the science behind it. Anyway, but years ago when my daughter was little, she did a video pronunciation like American to English. Like, so she said how I say it, and then she said how like her mommy says it, and then how she says it. I'll play the video right now. Okay, we're gonna do an English to English lesson, and you're gonna say how you say it and how mommy says it.
Okay. Banana.
And how do you say it?
Banana. Luggage.
Laugh.
Laugh.
How do you say it?
Laugh. Mommy.
And how do you say it?
Mommy. Can't.
And you say?
Can't. Call.
And what do you say?
Call. Water.
And what do you say?
Water. Castle.
And what do you say?
Castle.
And who lives in a castle? But it was really funny. Okay, so what am I doing today? What's so exciting in my life? I'm on the 8 Beltway, which if you look at a map of Houston here, you've got the 45 and 59 that create the first inner circle. Then you have the 610 loop. So if you say you live inside the loop, that's where I used to live when I lived in my apartment over here. And then you have the 8 Beltway, and that is a NASCAR track at night. You hear all the supercars and guys doing wheelies on motorcycles. And it's a toll road. And then you've got the 6, which doesn't really go all the way around. And then you've got the 99, which when they built the 99 and then they superimposed the map of Houston over various cities, it's bigger than most metropolitan areas. Like, you drive 100 miles in Houston, you're still in Houston. You've got to have a car. There's 9 million people that live in the greater Houston area. There's 2.3 million that just live in my neighborhood that I used to live in. It's crazy. But you have all these other like areas of Houston. So you've got like Sugarland, you've got all the way out to Katy, which is pretty much Houston at this point. That's 30 miles out. That's where my garage is. That's where most of the stuff that I do now is out there, just because it's easier to be out there and the gas is cheaper. So I just made, and also the garage apartment that I have, which I'm never in, you know, because I'm always in van life. The garage apartment at my friend's house over there. So it's on a country club, so it's really boring. I mean, it's a nice place, you know, but it's just so far away from everything I need to do. So I'm usually either down in this neighborhood where I used to live to get my mail, to go to my chiropractor, which is where I'm going now, or to go to the VA, which is down in my old neighborhood. And also, like, you know, some of the cool fancier stores like Central Market Grocery. I still go to my old supermarket. I went there yesterday to go, like, when I went to go get my mail, one street over is my old supermarket. I still go shop there. Like, I would rather go to that one. And the woman, like the lady that's at the Starbucks, the older lady, and she's like, oh my God! Like, I'm like, and she's like, I haven't seen you in so long. And she's this like little Japanese lady. And I was like, I'm sorry, I'm busy, I'm traveling. And she's like, no, where have you been going and all this stuff. That's my like goal in life, is to go somewhere and people go, oh, hello again, where have you been? You know, like, I guarantee you nobody will ever put a missing persons report out on me. They just expect me to be gone for like weeks on end and then come back. So, but the fact that when I do come back, everyone remembers me, which is nice. It's like, oh, it's all me. Look at me. Am I going the right way? Oh yeah. I'm like, I don't even know which way I'm going. I just sometimes just automatically end up going back to my old apartment. Do you ever do that? Like, when you start a new job near your old job, and sometimes you accidentally drive to your old job, and you're like, wait, I don't work here anymore. And you just slowly back out of the parking lot before your old coworkers see you. I've done that many times. In Los Angeles, I would sometimes just, like, no brainer, accidentally drive to a previous job. But sometimes I just automatically end up driving the way that I'm used to driving. Also, the gallery is down here, which is the 7th level of hell most days. But that's where I used to ice skate. I don't go there anymore. The rink is shit, and they jacked up the price to $27 a day to go ice skate. It used to be $8. If I go to Memorial City and I get a punch card, it's $8. And but I'm not ice skating this weekend. I did work out yesterday at the gym, did an hour on the stair climber, and today I've got to run around. I've got chiropractor, I've got another place I need to be at 2, and then it's mommy weekend. So Sunday, yeah, I think it's just, I don't know what we're going to do. We usually go get lunch and, yeah, just kind of do stuff. My daughter's in school, so, you know, she's got grammar time and stuff like that. And 6th grade is pretty intense, but I think this is her last week of school next week. And then we've got summertime, so she's got, like, summer camp and stuff. So, but I mean, like, I left her dad when she was a year old, so she's only ever known like separate houses, you know, kind of our interesting schedule, stuff like that. So it works out for us. I mean, a lot of people are like, oh, you know, like you should do this and this. I'm like, yeah, but that works if like you're both like stay at home, or like you work 9 to 5, or you live in the same neighborhood. Like not everybody's in that situation. Some of us have unique, careers, you know, especially like my friends that are flight attendants or pilots, you know, they have to have a different type of arrangement because, you know, they're working like different schedules. It doesn't mean that we're less of a parent, you know, it just means that we're, you know, we're doing things a little bit differently, and it doesn't make any real difference, really. I mean, you know, it's funny, if you live in glass houses, don't throw stones. Yeah, so all my stay-at-home mommy friends would always be so critical. I'm like, yeah, but anyway. Some of them though, I'm like, oh, you're gonna judge me? Yeah, your husband's on Bumble. So, swipe left. Yeah, it's like, that's pretty funny though. Yeah, there's a lot of that in the mommy group. There were some really nice moms, but there were a lot of like very much kind of the hypocritical, like Southern Belle, oh, look at our perfect Instagram life. And then I'm like, yeah, but I saw your husband at the Galleria with someone else yesterday. So when I was ice skating, I don't say anything. I don't wreck homes. I don't interfere, but I just kind of do the British silently judging. Like, I know what's really going on with you. So don't tell me that my life is shit. My life is actually pretty good. But yeah, people don't really, you know, they think unconventional means like, yeah, they don't understand that you can be, you know, normal in a new normal, in a different normal. Like for me, this is normal. This is how I've always been. This is how I was raised. My parents were the same, you know, and you know, in the eyes of others, my irresponsible parents that traveled all the time, and my mom would work like 3 jobs to make sure that we could go see the world when we were kids, and we went everywhere. Every weekend we were taking a road trip in England to go find some, you know, new pub or new castle, or, you know, I was always going to places with my friends' parents, and my friends. You know, it's just, that's what we did. I mean, we weren't the type to sit around in our house all weekend. Plus, like, my sister smoked all the time, and I want to be at home. I'm like, let's go outside and let's go find a nice new park, or, you know, a Roman ruin, or let's go see a stately home. You know, it's just, that was what we did when we were kids. My brother and my mom and I. My sister, you know, she's 12 years old. She didn't care. She was off doing her own thing. And then she moved out when I was like 6 or 7. So I just, you know, I don't know. Everyone each to their own. But it's just funny when people judge and they go, oh, you know, like even yesterday I was talking to my friend on the phone, and he goes, you know, maybe you should just like not travel as much. I'm like, I'm hanging up on you, dude. Like, how dare you? Like, because your miserable life is sitting in your house, you know, day drinking because you got nothing else to do and nowhere else to be, and you're all by yourself because you got divorced. You're gonna tell me like not to live my life? I just lost my best friend, dude. I'm not gonna sit in my house with 1 foot in the grave. First of all, I don't even have my own apartment anymore. Second, how dare you tell me not to travel? I'm happiest when I am doing good for the world. And I'm miserable when I'm sitting in my house twiddling my thumbs. But, you know, it's like, because people just, they don't look at the world from someone else's perspective. They look at it from their perspective. And they don't understand how you can live life, like, not caring about, you know, money all the time. Like, my whole life is not just to make money. Like, that's ridiculous. But when you come from the corporate world where you live to work, you know, and then you don't, you know, you meet somebody that doesn't live that way, that lives, you know, work is a means to fund my experience. I'm like, I just lost the love of my life in January. I lost my best friend, and we had so many plans of what we wanted to do. And he spent 2 years not being able to get out of a bed. Why would anyone wish that upon someone else? Why would anyone say, you know what, you should not travel, you should not live your life as much as you're living, you should stop and slow down? That's what he told me. I'm like, we're not friends anymore. So I've blocked him in my mind for at least 24 hours. Don't tell people that. You don't know the life I've designed. And plus, when you just become my friend a couple years ago and you don't know my whole life history, but you know, it's always the people that criticize are the ones that are most miserable. Like, I mean, I've met the happiest people that have reinvented their lives by becoming nomadic, by building a little tiny home on land somewhere, by leaving corporate America, you know, and they're healthier, they're happier. You know, they might be a little more risky life because, you know, life is uncertain when you're on the road and you don't know what's going to happen or what's going to break down. But the same in an apartment. I mean, half the time my toilet broke in my apartment. Like, you just don't know. But people think that if you're stuck to the ground, that your life is more stable, but not necessarily, because houses burn down and houses wash away, as my house did wash away in 2016. So you don't know. But to turn around and tell somebody, you know what, I think it would be better for you if you just don't travel as much. I'm like, and how would that be better? Because then you'd bring me down to your miserable level, and that would make you feel better. What is it like? Don't blow out someone's candle to make yours brighter. So I told him, I said, how dare you say that to me? And if you ever say that to me again, we will not be friends. I will throw the whole friendship away, because you don't tell somebody, especially in my situation this year, having lost my best friend, where all I want to do is live for the legacy. I want to live every day as epic as possible. I have to come back to Houston and do logistical stuff. I have to, you know, do medical appointments, things like that. That's the housekeeping. But when I'm in the van, the last 3 days when I was in Vegas, it was absolutely amazing. You know, I'm happiest in the van, because I look around and I see all the magnets, and I see all the map of where I've been, and I know that I've gone places that I would never have dreamed of going if I didn't just, you know, end up living in the middle of a pandemic. Sorry, my phone's coming off here. Why is this road so bad? Oh my God. That's the thing. Do you want to stay stuck in this neighborhood where your roads are shitty? Anyway, but that's the thing. Like, and honestly, like, my friends that, you know, now after a pandemic, you know, them going through, you know, almost losing their home because they, you know, they overextended themselves, and then obviously they lost their jobs, and the corporate oil and gas jobs. You know, now they're, you know, they're constantly worrying. Sorry, what is with this road? Oh my God. They're constantly worrying about their home. They're constantly worrying about paying their mortgage. You know, like, nobody's thinking about being able to go and do something, because they're constantly having to maintain all this stuff. And I was never brought up in that mentality. Like, my parents, we lived in a council house in North London, and then my dad babysat his friends, like oil and gas friends' mansions and things like that. And so, you know, they never owned anything. They owned a house, I think, and a ranch and stuff in Texas, but they sold it, moved to England for my dad's work. That's how I'm British. But I don't know. I've just never, you know, and I'm just saying about me. Like, if you want to do you and you want to live your life the way you do it. But for me, I'm not about to be dictated to by somebody that says, you know, you should travel less because hearing your stories about travel wears me out. Like, they don't understand how I have the energy to do this. I don't know how I have the energy to do this. This is all I've ever done since I was 21 years old, since I moved to Japan. When I went to Japan, I decided that I wanted to see the world. When I got sick 8 months in, I was very, very sick, almost died. I'm in the hospital for 6 months in Japan, and Lonely Planet was sending me book after book after book. And they said, hey, we want you to update our travel books. I'm like, I'm dying. I'm dying of what could be a terminal disease. No, I was very, very, very sick. And I had a surgery, and everything was fine after that. But, you know, it was touch and go for a couple of years, because I was still in Japan for 3.5 years after that, 2.5 years after that. And so I do not know what, I'm going to the chiropractor. I'm like, where am I going? Again, I drive to my old house. So, you know, I just told people, like, you know, I told myself that, as I was sitting there with all these books on my hospital bed, and I thought, you know what? Get me some Post-it notes, get me a notepad. I'm going to plan trips to 40 countries. I want to go see every country that they sent me a book for. And I did. And I went to Thailand 9 times. I went to Cambodia, Vietnam, Laos, Nepal, India twice, China, South Korea. I was living in Japan, Australia, New Zealand, all over Europe. Did a whole big summer in Europe. And then back to America one time for, back to America for did I go to America twice? No, I think I only went once. I went back to America for to take the Japanese kids. So I had 6 Japanese kids that I took to America for 10 days. So all of this stuff, and plus some other trips here and there, business trips, Singapore, Malaysia. I couldn't get to Myanmar or former Burma because at the time I had an American passport and a British passport. And so what I would do is I would leave Japan on my American passport because that was my visa for my work. And I would fly into Bangkok, and then I would fly out of Bangkok on my British passport. And I would be British for the duration of the trip, whatever countries I was going to. And then I'd fly into Bangkok again and fly out of Bangkok as an American. And that's perfectly fine. So back then, at least 25 years ago, 9/11 happened while I was in Japan. So that changed a little bit of the trajectory of how I was traveling, because I did have to end up having a Canadian flag on my backpack. And so let me pull over here, Canadian flag on my backpack, and travel on my British passport. But anyway, so there we go. Sorry, I didn't even do my hair this morning. I just woke up and it's like, I'm going to the chiropractor. I get to sleep again for 2 hours. It's very bright though. But yeah, so that was my plan. And for somebody, 25 years later to say, hey, I think you should just not do that. I'm like, who the hell? You're not my dad. Don't ever tell somebody, if you think that someone is doing something dangerous, right? Like, drugs or like excessive drinking or, drunk driving, then yeah, take the keys, call a cab, intervene. But don't intervene on somebody's life, right? Don't intervene on somebody's happiness. Like, don't pee in my Cheerios. Like, you will not be my friend. And I've actually purged my life of a lot of people that they're just so miserable in their own lives that they just want to bring you down. I'm like, why not ask me how to do what I do, right? If you're so upset that you're working a 9-to-5 corporate job and you can't get out of it, but you've got weekends, instead of saying, well, Jenny, you should just not travel because, it just makes me feel worse. How about like, hey, Jenny, how can I be a tourist in my own town? Hey, are there any trips that, can I go on with you? I'm like, yeah, you can come on a trip with me. And I've done that. I took a friend of mine during the pandemic, right when the world shut down. We were literally eating dinner at the Melting Pot, which was one of those fondue places. And sorry, let me try to adjust this here. We're eating dinner at one of those fondue places the night that the world shut down. And I thought, because, pandemic, there's chatterings of this pandemic. So I said, let's go to the Melting Pot where we have like a 3-foot skewer so we can just stab our food and eat it so we can socially distance from our fondue. And so we're sitting there eating, and halfway through, they just took everything away. And then they brought it back in a styrofoam container. So they put the fondue cheese in this styrofoam, like Chinese takeout container that it just started melting into it. And I'm like, and then they gave us some like chocolate covered strawberries as a consolation. And I'm still holding the skewer. I'm like, well, can I get my dinner? Like, I was about to eat the steak. And so we just got kicked out of the restaurant with our, we threw the food away right away because it was melting into the styrofoam. And we just was like, well, what do we do now? I guess drink at a bus stop? I don't know. There was nothing to do that night. Everything shut down. The karaoke bar, the little Vietnamese karaoke bar across the street was still open. Everyone went over there. But so the next day I said, hey, let's get out of town. Let's go. Because I'd spent, I'd already been on some road trips with this car that I just bought a few months before. I said, hey, let's get your SUV. Let's get your Jeep Cherokee. It's got 2 bike racks on the back. Let's put our bikes on the back. And let's go, let's go to New Mexico. Let's go to Santa Fe. Let's go to Taos. Let's go, do like a New Mexico trip. We'll go to Albuquerque. And we drove. And the first, we stopped off in Dallas. We stopped off in a few places on the way in Texas. We made our way to Albuquerque and then went up to Santa Fe. Got up to Taos. And then he just 4 days in, he just turned. He's like, oh, my adult children that live at home still in the suburbs, they can't figure out the microwave. And I'm like, let them figure out the microwave. They're 23 to 32 years old. Like, they still live at home. Your 4 girls still live at home and they're codependent. They're not codependent when he's home. They don't even need his help. They don't even talk to him. But the minute he leaves, they're just like, his phone was blowing up. And I said, look, when I was 21, I was backpacking through India. Like, let them figure out the microwave, And so then day 5, that's day 4. Day 5, he's like, oh, I gotta go back and paint the kitchen. I said, you've lost your job. It's a pandemic. We've got 3 more days of the trip. Why are you gonna shit on it? And then 5 and 6, days 5 and 6, he was just nonstop complaining about he's got to be home. I'm like, okay, like, just, dude. And so anyway, so I was like, fine. So I said, look, just drop me off in Austin. I will get a ride back from Austin. I'm done with this trip. I have all the time in the world. I'm going to spend another week here and just hang out in Austin. It's March. It's nice weather. And if you want to just drop me off somewhere with my bike and my bag and just go. And he did that. He dropped me off at my friend's house in Austin and he left. And it was blissful because we were in Roswell actually by the time I decided that I didn't want to be on this trip with him. So it's only been once or twice that I've kicked somebody out of a trip because they were just bitching at me. I'm like, have fun or go. That's the only two choices. Like, I'm not causing you problems. You're sitting there complaining about all these things that are 1,700 miles away that don't mean it. You're worrying about inanimate objects that mean nothing. And your children, your adult children who can't figure out a microwave, I'm like, they're on their phones 24/7 on TikTok. They can't find a video to show them how to use a microwave. I mean, it was just them. It was because the whole family, that particular family, was all about shitting on each other. Whenever anyone was having fun or doing well, or one of the girls got a boyfriend or one of the other girls bought a nice outfit, they would just shit on each other and ruin their day because somebody got something more than the other person. And when dad goes on a trip, the same thing. So I kicked him out. And so he went back and it was fine. And I had a great time and I hung out with my old friends. And yeah, I mean, I dated somebody in Austin for 4 years. So we had a lot of mutual friends and I had somebody just give me a ride back, you know, a week later and just stayed at friends' houses. And it was nice and never thought about it again until this moment. But that's the thing. So don't ever tell somebody, especially when, you know, you see them living an alternative lifestyle, don't ever tell them that they should not live that way when you don't know what their life was like before. And so my life with my apartment, working in an investment firm, it was not the happiest time of my life. In fact, it was pretty boring. And yeah, the money was good, but I had so many expenses that I barely saw any of the money I was making because I was paying rent and utilities and insurance and, you know, just the cost of living of maintaining a home. It wasn't worth it. And, you know, and then I didn't work there for almost 2 years, or 2.5 years ago I left because Jeff got sick and he was in the hospital. So I quit that job. And then in August last year, I gave up my apartment. I was like, there's no point me paying all this money when I could put the money toward the nonprofit, whereas I could keep my expenses low and maximize my time, you know, because, you know, it's like I had to work, you know, 40, 50 hours a week where 60, 70% of my paycheck went to pay expenses to live. And then you have no time. Or I could maybe, you know, work less, you know, or actually right now, you know, I've got issues with my hand, so I'm limited on the amount of time I can work on a computer as it is. I mean, I can use my right hand a little bit, but my left hand is, you know, completely shot because of the hand surgery. But then I decided, I was like, okay, I want to start a nonprofit. And how do I get more time and not have to work 100 million hours to, you know, I don't have to work a second job to fund a trip. I can like get rid of all my expenses and then I don't have to earn as much, right? Like it's this weird concept of like, if you just don't have as much to pay for, then you don't have to work a 90-hour week. It's kind of weird. American dream, American mentality is that you have to work all the time. In order to, you know, working all the time is good. Traveling when you're 65 is good. And I didn't grow up here. You know, I lived in England. I grew up with parents that were Americans, but they traveled all the time and seeing the world was our thing. And even when I lived in California, every weekend in high school, my mom was, you know, trying to find somewhere for us to go. We went to Idlewild, went to Big Bear, you know, we went out to Santa Monica, we went up to Santa Barbara, down to the Missions in San Clemente, down to San Diego. But yeah, like we went to, you know, Anza Borrego, Palm Springs, like we just go drive somewhere on the weekends. You know, we leave, you know, Saturday morning or Friday night and come back Sunday night. And then Monday morning I go to school. Every weekend almost. You know, it didn't cost much. It just cost gas back then. And I think gas was like 88 cents a gallon back then. It was something ridiculous. But anyway, okay, so I'm at the chiropractor and that was just my little PSA. Whatever your thoughts are on life and stuff. I mean, yeah, I mean, I look at it like people now, you know, they're selling their homes and they can use the money to travel. I don't have assets like that, right? I don't own a house. I don't have anything to sell. I've sold everything I own when I moved out of the apartment. But I think about it in like the logical math way of that, okay, you sell your house for 1.2 million, but how much have you had to pay in mortgages? That house was worth 800,000 when you bought it. So you still are out $800,000 plus the interest from the mortgage, and you've been paying that for 30 years. $800,000 is a lot of money, you know. It's like, and same with rent. Like, you know, paying $1,200 a month in rent is, you know, it's what, $14,400 a year or something. That's a shit ton of money. Like, what's my rent for my van? $0. You know, not everybody obviously can live in a van. I mean, if you have a big family or a spouse or somebody's like 6'7", you know, it's like sometimes vans aren't really compatible, but there's millions of people live in RVs, you know. And but again, it's a lifestyle. It's not just a life, and it's not for everybody. But if you are, you know, sitting around complaining about how you hate your life, that's the people that are like, okay, there's options for change. If you don't want to take the options and you just want to sit around and complain all day, you do you, but don't tell someone else to do less because you don't want to do more. I think that's my PSA. Don't tell someone to do less because you can't be bothered to do more. Okay? Again, don't blow out someone's candle to make yours brighter, because I will set fire to the entire city. It's like, it'll just be an inferno of fun. That's what it'll be. Anyway, I gotta go chiropractor. These people know me well. Like, all these pictures of like the woman with a neck brace and the guy holding his knee. I'm like, you know what? I feel attacked. I'm like, yes, that's what I did this week. Anyway, my friend in college, when I went over to Indiana the other month, which is funny, I drove out there. When I was saying goodbye to Colin, he's like, just don't break yourself this week. So he's like, you're always somehow bruising or breaking yourself. I know. I'm like, I know. I live an adventurous life. I also have free healthcare, so that helps too. I think I'd be more cautious. I am cautious, but I think I would, you know, if I didn't have health insurance, like bazillions of Americans, which is crazy, that, you know, we have to live in a world where, you know, we're not unable to just get basic medical care. You know, I'd probably just get duct tape and a baseball bat and just splint my leg. You know, I'd just be like, I'm good, packing on ice. Okay, let me go. Oh, what is wrong? It's so hot here right now. Let me go into the chiropractor. And yeah, like I said, you know, if you're miserable in your life, don't bring someone down to your level just so that you feel good about yourself. Like, ask people, how do I not be so miserable? And I'll tell you, I'll help you. That's what my nonprofit does. We help people that are in despair, who are, you know, suicidal or depressed, or they lost a leg, or they broke their neck snowboarding, or they were in combat and they have PTSD. And we help them do something in their life that is meaningful, fun, outdoor adventure. And that's what we do. And if you want to, you know, if you want to sit around and be miserable all day, you know, and when you have an ability to change it yourself, I don't want to listen to it anymore. I'm done listening to it. I am turning you off. I'm cutting the cord on the phone. Okay? When phones used to be attached to the wall. I don't want to hear you go on about how miserable your life is when I know that you have the financial means, you have the physical means, and you have the time. Okay? But if you are seriously in despair and you don't have the means to change it, I can help you. My organization can help you, or I can put you in touch with people that can help you. I will be willing to help you, but not my acquaintances, my friends, my acquaintances that they just want to complain about how miserable their marriage is, how miserable their life is. And I'm like, that's great, but go on TikTok and find some videos on how to change it. You know, the internet is a wealth of information. Okay, if you don't want to change, I don't want to listen anymore, because I lost my best friend. I am dealing with my own stuff with my family. I am trying to make the world better with my nonprofit. I'm trying to keep myself healthy, and I want to live my best life ever. You know, I don't have any more room in my life to hear an oil and gas guy complain about his life that he has every means to change. You know, so, and that's a broken record that's been going on for 6 years. Some of these people have just been saying the same story for 6 years. And the guy that I kicked out of the trip, like a year later, he's like, you know what, I'm really sorry that I did that. By the way, you know, I really regret not traveling during the pandemic when I had all that time. And I said, yeah, how'd that work out for you? Yeah, because he didn't do anything for 10 months, and then he found another job. And I said, you had a 10-month paid vacation, you had unemployment, you had severance and furlough and all this stuff, and you don't want to do anything. I said, that's 10 months of your life. You'll never get time again until you retire to have that big chunk of time to travel when the world was good and gas was cheap. But that was his choice. But you know, I don't judge people on their choices. I just decide what I want to listen to. And I don't want to listen to that. Anyway, let me go to the chiropractor and go sleep for a few hours, get my back adjusted, and then hopefully it's gonna rain and be cool today. It's 84 degrees at 10 o'clock in the morning. It's way too hot here. It was a little hot yesterday, but I had a good workout, and yeah, I will chat with you guys later. Bye. So I'm going to show you the final iteration of the car camping setup. So this is an IKEA thing. I don't think they sell them anymore. I bought these years ago. And this has my clothes. So this has a bunch of clothes in it, just actually clothes that, I don't know, just a random selection of clothes just in case. And then under that, I have these two totes, and this has soup in it because I bought a bunch, and then just some other stuff. And then in here they've got more clothes under there. And then this is in here, this plastic container, so that it makes it level when the back car seats are down. That's my memory foam camping mattress, which is amazing, and it rolls up into its own bag. And then I have two pillows, just to have two pillows, and then I have a blanket right there, and then I have a little car fridge. So that's it. So that works out great. And it fits neatly in the back of my super tiny SUV. So actually I was at the supermarket, and some guys like, wow, there's a lot of room in there, because I was organizing this the other day. So even though I live in Houston, this is permanently packed for me just to get up and go anytime I want to go do anything, or go somewhere camping for the weekend, or go on a road trip, or if I need to drive to the Midwest again. And that way I don't have to pay for hotels. And it's very, very comfortable. The memory foam is super comfy. And what I do is I put the seats down, I move this over to where the pillows are, like that way, and then the memory foam comes out this way, and then I have a full twin size length bed. This is 72 inches for the mattress, and I'm 68 inches, so I fit in the whole thing, and it's great. So that's kind of my car camping setup. Good morning. I just got done with the chiropractor. That was great. So the guy is, I think he's Cuban. They're all Hispanic. I'm in like Little Mexico. So if you need anything done to your car, if you want really good like tacos, I mean this part of, I think it's like Bel Air Boulevard from, like Rice all the way down to like Hillcroft, because they've got a Fiesta, which is the Mexican supermarket. Super nice people. I always come over here whenever I need like minor stuff done to my car, like if the headlight blows out, or if I need them to like, you know, change a tire or something. But it's really great. Anyway, we have lots of pockets of other countries in Houston. We got every country represented pretty much. It's the 4th largest city in the country, and I think it's the most diverse. But anyway, you can get anything from anywhere. So anyway, so I'm done with the chiropractor. But yeah, the chiropractor, he's like, yeah, like I was talking to my friend about you, about travel. And then he just went to Argentina for a week, and then he came back. He goes, yeah, like I was in Argentina, and then I got the whole row in the airplane to myself, but then you get like the seat belts kind of get in, like jab into your ribs. He's a chiropractor, right? So he's always looking out for the spine. And he goes, so what I did is I got the barf bag and the pamphlets and kind of shoved it in like the empty seats where the seat belts were that weren't being used, and then that way it was nice and flat. And I was like, I didn't think about that, like shoving something in there. But anyway, so now I'm gonna go get some lunch. So I think I'm gonna go get a Mediterranean rice bowl, and then I have to go to get my mail because I'm leaving on Monday. So I don't want to come back and get my mail Monday. So I'm gonna get my mail today down here because I just have a mailbox. And then I think that's it. I don't think I have to go to my storage unit. I don't think I have to go to my storage garage. I already sorted everything out during the 3 weeks or so that I was here. And then, yeah, and then just kind of get on with my day. So, do I need groceries? I already got groceries. I think I have enough groceries. Yeah, it's fine. Anyway, okay, so I'm just trying to think out loud. All right, I'll see you guys in a bit.